Most photographers concentrate on things like exposure, composition, and then as they develop their skills, they'll realize the complexities and importance of light. They'll start to use natural light in a more creative way. They'll begin to appreciate the effectiveness of the magic hour and the more flattering mood that it conveys. Later on, as they develop further, photographers will likely start using softboxes or umbrellas, and then eventually they may arrive at the more complex control of lighting through using paras, Fresnels, projection lighting, and things like global illumination. However, it's not until much later that photographers start to piece together all of the elements of lighting, emotion, composition, juxtaposition, and visual storytelling in their work. And at this point, they may start to produce images that invoke a feeling and more than just a good photograph. Now, for many photographers, this takes years. So how can you fast forward yourself as a photographer to understand the mechanics beyond the concepts of light, good composition, and a nice subject? How do you understand something more when it appears you've already got to grips with everything photography related? Well, to do this, you have to take a step back. And first, you have to understand what is a picture. Now, this might sound like a simplistic question, but it's actually much deeper because the answer to this question is what separates some of the world's top photographers from those that just make good pictures. Let's begin with what is a picture. The first point we need to understand is that a picture is visual communication between the actual photograph and the viewer. But what if, as a photographer, you're creating images in the wrong language? One that uses good light, composition, etc., but the viewer still finds hard to understand. So we have to step back even further. First, we must understand human visual perception. How do people process an image? How do they perceive it and process that visual information? Now, if creating images is like writing a book, then the book must first be in a language that the viewer can understand. And the nuances of the narrative or the light and emotion must be able to be processed by the viewer as efficiently as possible for the image to be as effective as possible. Now, many years ago, I was researching these areas of human biology and visual processing, and it led me to the work of a highly respected professional photographer called Tim Flach. Tim has been creating images that are powerful, emotive, and captivating for decades. He's the author of at least 5 books. He lectures and presents all over the world. He's a consultant for many prestigious organizations, and his fine art prints are highly sought after. Several years ago, Tim and I started talking at great lengths about the theory behind human visual processing, and it soon became apparent that we both had a great interest in how humans actually see. In fact, Tim had long realized that this was one of the most fundamental questions that photographers were not asking themselves. And yet it was probably the most important. How do we see? And most photographers never give this question any thought. We make assumptions and produce visual communication without ever considering how it was going to be processed. It's as if we, as photographers, were writing books without first understanding the language of our audience. Now, Tim has long been using this information and this understanding to produce some of the most thought-provoking, emotive, and recognizable images of our time, which has led him to enjoying a hugely successful career and also bringing greater awareness to important issues. This mutual interest in these topics led us to both explore articles, books, and papers on neuroscience, visual stimulation, and why it appears that many of the old masters understood elements of color science and effective imagery long before photography was even invented. What we discovered was fascinating, and during our careers it has changed the way we work. It has advanced our approach to photography to one that is focused on the viewer's experience and what causes that experience rather than one of assumption. By looking at the work of old masters and the reasons that explain many optical illusions, why this square looks orange when in fact it's exactly the same colour as this one, how using this visual misinformation through imprinting or through colour adaptation can benefit photographers, how in this image the lowest circle looks more yellow than the top one, even though they are both the same, or why through very specific combinations of contrast and colour we can invoke the perception of motion even when none exists. These are just some of the visual processes at work in the human mind, but there are many, many more. One of the most effective is identifying the direction into an image and how to push a viewer around an image and keep them there, and how guiding the eye through contrast, colour, and often subduing many elements of an image will actually provide a more processable image to your audience. Through this knowledge, Tim and I put many of these influencing factors in place at the lighting stage of our photography. Others are deliberately introduced in the post-production stage to make the image more powerful. At the end of March, Tim and I will be taking a small group of like-minded photographers to my studio, and we will be introducing them to these powerful foundations and revealing how we see as humans and how you can harness that information to create more effective images. During the workshop, Tim and I will demonstrate with practical examples how an advanced understanding of human visual perception can transform your work. These detailed explanations and presentations establish how this knowledge applies to all visual communication, from the commercial world of photography through to beauty and portraiture and to fine art animal portraiture. We'll be learning from Tim's expertise on how to carefully and thoughtfully handle animals in cooperation with their owners, and how to consciously produce images that connect with the viewer on an emotional level. I'll be providing detailed examples and demonstrations on lighting and form, with concepts concerning texture, flow, perspective, and shadow that explore the why as well as the how, rather than just the how. And during our upcoming workshop, these are just some of the topics we discuss in detail so that photographers can harness this knowledge and use it. This is an exclusive event. From the minute you arrive at the hotel, everything is taken care of. Breakfast, transport to and from the studio every day, fabulous lunches, a group dinner with Tim Flach, myself and the team, and over 4 days we'll introduce you to the techniques of lighting, emotion and post-production that, when combined with this unique understanding of human visual perception, it will transform your abilities as a visual communicator and photographer. Now, if like our past participants you have a desire to experience a workshop that is like nothing else, something that provides a depth of knowledge beyond just a studio experience, then Tim and I would love to welcome you to take part in this very special event. It will offer you the opportunity to network with other like-minded photographers, as well as time with Tim and I during the event and your own portfolio critique if you choose. Now, this all takes place on the beautiful island of Guernsey, and of course you are welcome to extend your stay and explore the island and its beautiful harbour town, or sample its shopping and many restaurants. Just a short journey from your hotel, you will be at my 4,000 square foot studio, where you'll also have the opportunity to learn about a variety of equipment and specialist photography tools. So I hope that through this presentation I introduced you to some of the important concepts behind visual communication, philosophies that go well beyond that of just good photography. Now, if you'd like more information about the event, then follow the link below, and of course do not hesitate to contact me or my team on contact@carltayloreducation.com if you have any questions.